This is the Transparency Podcast Show.
Welcome to the Transparency Podcast. My name is Shane Ivan Nash, and I'm with my partner in crime, Blossom C. Brown.
Your favorite trans liberal that you love to love and you love to hate. Shane, I missed you.
I missed you too. You know what my favorite line is? Tag me if you're nasty.
Ooh, I don't play, okay?
So I've got a guest here that has history on the internet. I'm sure folks have so many questions for this individual, this amazing human that I really just met recently in person, but I've done a lot of research and found out a lot more, and I'm excited to have that conversation. How the hell is it going?
And welcome.
It's going good.
By the way, it's Brennan Beckwith. If you didn't know, this is Brennan Beckwith in the building.
I'm Brennan. I'm going to be looking at myself in the viewfinder the whole time.
Let's all get a moment. Let's just look beautiful in that camera.
Which is
angles,
my camera?
angles.
Where's my camera?
They're all your camera.
Yeah,
My camera?
all of them.
Okay.
If it's got a light, it's got your name on it.
So I'm Brennan. I youtube.com/Brennan Beckwith. I live stream. I make a lot of content. I have a web show called Brennames that is coming back on Wednesday. Very excited. Probably, I don't know when this is going to come out, but probably after that premieres. So, I've been doing YouTube for maybe like 10 years. I've been working in content creation for a very long time. I also just professionally work in social media production. So, yeah, that's me.
It's amazing.
You've got a lot of history, especially like on YouTube.
Yeah.
So where did you get started with YouTube? What made you say upload the first video?
I was a big fan of YouTubers back in maybe 2010 to 2014, those early golden age of YouTube where people like Tyler Oakley,
I
Troye
love
Sivan,
Tyler.
people, I was closeted trans boy in love with not closeted gay boys, and like, and I think I lived vicariously through them a little bit.
Yeah.
But so I kind of just wanted to be like them, and so I started making YouTube videos talking about my life sporadically, and then I made my my video that Calvin Guerra reacted to, and then Calvin Guerra reacted to it, and I left the internet for a few years, and then came back with my video about him, and things kind of just progressed from there, and
So for context, who was this Calvin person?
Yeah, because I'm an old head, and I'm like, who the hell is Calvin Guerra?
Calvin Guerra is kind of like the trans mask Blair White, if you will, or was. Like, he doesn't make
We need to go there. Okay.
he doesn't make content anymore, but basically he made a lot of reaction content. He's a trans guy that just, fed into the transmedicalist narrative, anti-non-binary, anti-cringe culture, kind of reactionary YouTuber. And I was the exact opposite. I was making, non-binary videos before it was cool, when it was cringy, and when it was, I had my pink hair, and
Pioneer.
I was
No, you were really a
surgery.
pioneer. I look back at
a
some
legend.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much.
No, seriously, there was a lot of people that I think were afraid to express themselves in the way that you did, especially early in the transition.
Yeah.
And you caught a lot of flack for that.
Yeah, I think that I didn't really know what I was doing at the time. I think that I was just, like I said, a fan of YouTubers. So I was making YouTube videos about my experience. I was big inspired by Ash Hardell and Milo Stewart.
Oh, Ash. I remember Ash.
Ash Hardell's great. Love them so much. They're just now getting back into making YouTube videos again. And I'm really excited to see where they go with all of that. So I was inspired by queer content creators like that. And I didn't have a big following. I had a following from Tumblr, actually.
Tumblr.
We missed that.
Wait, I thought you were Gen Z. What, Tumblr?
I think
Did you get like the
Tumblr-
last cusp
I'm
of
a
it?
Gen Zillennial,
Oh, okay.
like I'm on the
the
cusp of Gen
Yeah. So you're like
Millennial.
94, 95?
Yeah.
98.
98? Oh, yeah, you are.
Yeah. So, I was on Tumblr. I made videos about being queer and non-binary and genderqueer. I came out as gender fluid on the internet, and that brought me to an episode of MTV's True Life.
Wow.
You didn't find this out in your research?
No, I did. I'm just, I have to be wow for the audience too. You know what I mean? Like, yes.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Yeah, so I guess too, I can also owe some of my following and some of my history to True Life. I'm genderqueer. That was a very interesting experience. I was 17 years old when when
How
MTV
was that?
Like
came up
he's
in my
like
house.
a pioneer for non-binary folks. That's why I wanted him on. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
at
I've
the
been
age of
talking about-
17, though,
Yeah.
like, what does that pressure look like? How was that experience for you?
You know,
Especially back then.
I didn't really, I didn't really know what I was doing. I kind of just, took opportunities when they came to me, and I just loved like being myself in that way. Like I loved the idea of being non-binary. I loved like gender fuckery. I didn't know that word at the time.
It's
but,
okay. You can cuss. I like cussing here.
But I did some.
Because that's
love
what
our
we
button.
do here. We do here.
But yeah, so I did some. I was really into all that kind of stuff and making content, and so I actually came out as gender fluid in a YouTube video, and then they found me through that. And the reality TV game where they take people who
Sensationalize
don't
things.
necessarily like understand the whole gig, and they sell you on
You're
this
telling
idea.
two people that run a Jubilee episode. I have no idea what that's like.
They
I've
sell- yeah.
never been in that position in my life. Do you have any idea what that's like?
No
You
idea.
know how it is. You know how it is. Like, but I loved it. I was 17. They told me I could be a star. They told me that I was, helping the community and stuff. And so I signed a bunch of contracts, and they came to my place. But I don't know. I learned a lot. It was super fun to be on camera. But yeah, it really did kind of push me into the spotlight at a pretty early age, and at an early time in my identity as well, right? Like I had not fully, like I am not the person that I was when I was 17, and so looking back on it is a little cringy to me. Also, like there's,
Anybody that looks back at 17, I look back at my 17-year-old self, I'm like, bro.
but y'all can't call me cringy, okay? That would be Calvin Garrett territory. that would be Calvin Garrett territory. You got to protect 17-year-old Brennan. But I mean, I look back at 17-year-old Brennan, and even though I'm like, ugh, I'm so not that person anymore. And now there's this episode, of me talking about identities and queerness and transness before I even knew at all what I was talking about. But I also love that version of me. I love past me. Like, I think that they were so fucking cool and so brave, and like just really put it all out on the table for whoever wanted to see. And I was doing it, to talk about my community and my identity. And I was really well positioned. Like I was very privileged. My parents were supportive. I was okay. So I was able to talk about it and be open about it in ways that a lot of people can't. And so, yeah, I really admire that version of me, and it brought me here. So,
That's quite incredible. I'm sitting here and I'm listening and I'm thinking to myself, what advice would you give to any trans or non-binary person that's coming up in content creating and as a YouTuber? Like, what would you, based
Honestly,
off your experience?
like me, like just put stuff out there. Like just get stuff out there. If you, there's a lot of people talking about creating and talking about putting stuff into the world, and they have lots of ideas, but you really just got to start putting stuff out. Like, and this is something that I, over years and years of content creation have struggled with myself. Just going from idea to product, right? And I think you just have to do it. You just have to start doing it. You can't worry too much about everything else. You just have to, like, if you have an idea for a video or for something to talk about, Like, just start talking about it and keep putting stuff out into the world, and don't worry too much about the, you know, views and numbers and comments and stuff like that. Just keep putting it out there, you know?
Completely. Yeah. And, you know, you kind of talk about your former self. You know, that Calvin Guerra situation from my research that I've done and just spoken with you personally.
We boo those type of people.
We definitely, where is that? It's right here. I remember where that is. Boo.
Yeah, we boo those.
When we say that name.
We boo bullies around here.
But, you know, I know that you said that it changed you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you know, Calvin Guerra, he was just so mean. He was just so mean to me. And I really was like a very, you know, I was vulnerable, right? Like, I really put all myself out onto the internet, and I was not getting the views or the following that Calvin had. Like, I maybe had 500 subscribers, and I'm telling you, that's all from like my famous Tyler Oakley Tumblr blog. Like, and the video he reacted to at the time that he reacted to it was, what was it called?
It had like 280 videos.
It maybe had like, maybe like 200 views or something. Yeah. So, you know, sometimes I feel like he saw me out, but
no,
I think
it definitely looks like
Tyler's
I think that personally. Yeah, when he created that video, it really sent a lot of attention my way that I just did not know how to handle. I was in college. I was you know, I was just like studying theater. I was a resident assistant.
Me too.
Yeah.
What?
I love, man, when I was a resident assistant, that was a wild time in my life.
I did.
Wait, what happened?
Oh man, I mean, like just being a resident assistant. Oh, I found everything. I was a cool RA though. I was one of those like, you know, hear no evil, see no evil kind of RA.
Don't set it on fire, right?
I had it on Monday nights.
Yeah.
I'll never forget Monday nights in the summer. And I had to go to summer school because I was like running out of money and I was running out of financial aid. I was like, oh my God. And it was one of the most chillest jobs I ever had.
Yeah, it was a wild job. And, you know, they always put the queer people on my floor or on my hallway. And the theater kids. So I had a wild time. I don't know. You know,
there was a lot of pot on that floor. I'm sorry.
There was so much shit. But I loved that job. But yeah, so I was just not prepared for the level of hate and like harassment that I was experiencing. And then there was also like an element of that hate and harassment coming from trans men and trans mask people.
Yeah.
Because Calvin Guerra's trans, and his whole point about me was that I was, you know, misrepresenting the trans mask experience. I was a trans-trender. I was only being trans for the trend of it all. And I think that he projected a lot of his issues onto me. Like, he didn't know me, right?
Yeah.
But I think that I just garnered a very visceral, angry reaction in him. And I think all of his fans were also like very angry, young trans boys. And they needed somewhere to put it all. And so
what is it, Andrew Tate kind of situation?
I mean, I
that's
guess
what it kind of looks.
Who was that?
Girl, he's canceled. Andrew Tate.
Very, very famous misogynist.
Yeah. And he's in jail now, isn't he?
I don't know. I hope he's still in jail. But
Wow.
Yeah,
It's like a trans Andrew Tate, it sounds like.
Yeah, I suppose. But I think that, you know,
And
I think
they
that they
both
were
got
just
canceled.
very,
Sorry.
very angry. They were just very angry. I think Calvin, I don't know, I mean, I'm 25 now. I think Calvin was like 17. He was younger than me when he made that video about me.
Wow.
And so I have a lot of, I don't know, empathy for him, or like, I don't know. Sometimes I say that, you know, I love that kid. I think that, you know, he's got a lot of things in his head that I just don't have. And I think that he's got a lot more demons than I ever have. And
that's what I see with these folks. Like,
yeah.
Blair White and Buck and stuff like that. I feel like they are, maybe in their transition, the people around them treated them. I love you, Blossom. It's an evil laugh. It's an evil laugh. I feel like, and this is how I'm trying to unpack it to understand how they got to that point. It's like, maybe in their transition, their environment that they transitioned in was so toxic that it created a scenario for them where it's like, well, I had to get surgery. I had to get this. I had to get that to barely be considered anything. How dare you not get surgery?
How dare you be happy in a body that
part.
sad.
Exactly.
Wake
And
that up,
it's almost like this, there's like a jealousy thing.
It is. I think it's
right?
jealousy. I think that he saw himself in me. And I think that he was, angry that I figured out a different way.
Happy.
Yeah, I figured out a different way to deal with my dysphoria and to deal. I think was even the title of the video he reacted to was My Gender Dysphoria and How I Deal with It. And it was just not the way that he wanted to. He was
looking for cis male validation at the end of the day.
Yeah, I don't know if he was looking for cis. I think he was just looking for validation in general, I suppose. I think that he was really angry, and I think that being angry at that time, maybe he did it in 2016 to 2018, was a very popular time to hate on the cringe, hate on the blue hair, the pink hair.
Yeah, it was a trend.
Non-binaries. It was very, very popular. And so his form of anger and transmedicalism and his, ideologies, if you could call them that. I think he was just angry, yelling at people. I don't think he really knew I think he used transmedicalism as an ideology to like justify his anger and justify his projection. But I think that was just very popular at the time as well. Like that video he made about me got, in the end, like 2 million views, which is a lot of money for a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
And
I didn't realize the numbers. I never looked at the metrics on its 2 million views.
It got ultimately 2 million views. And then, and so I think what was also interesting about me was that I was the first non-binary cringy person that he reacted to. And so I think with the success of my video, oh my God.
Yeah.
Little Brennan.
That's me in high school. That's probably after my
You look so
MTV
cute.
True Life episode, maybe a little bit. I was probably 17 in that.
You look so
Same
cute,
glasses.
innocent.
I need to change my style a little bit.
Listen, y'all were
Get new
saying the
glasses.
word transmedicalism. Can y'all explain that for the viewers? Because that's a new word that they have never really.
Transmedicalism, yeah, it was a very popular ideology among the Blair Whites, the Buck Angels, the Calvin Guerras of the world. It's just this ideology that you can't be trans or you're not truly trans unless you're seeking and receiving medical gender-affirming care, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was just this very popular push-back ideology, kind of counter culture to the, gender fuckery, gender queer ideology of, self-identification. You're trans if you say you're trans. There's no right or wrong way to be trans. Non-binary identities and gender queer identities and gender fuckery identities, gender nonconforming identities, all kind of flow between what it is to be trans, right? And it's kind of like this self-identification, like you actually decide what it is to be trans. Mm-hmm. So transmedicalism is just like the opposite of that ideology. Transmedicalism follows this this narrative that in order to be considered truly trans, whatever that means, you have to be seeking, in the trans mass case, like top surgery, hormone replacement therapy, other surgeries, right? But it was just a very popular ideology to just like hate on trans people you don't get.
Gotcha.
That's really what it boiled down to, and what Calvin Guerra used that ideology to justify, just like making fun of like cringy people he doesn't like.
But you got him off the internet.
Yeah,
So
I did.
how
didn't I?
my question is, how did you go from, being in that position where you're a young kid, you're dealing with all this hate comments, and you obviously took some time and grew and fueled. You came back with a vengeance.
So you know what?
Like-
what happened was,
Really good, Shane.
Yeah.
you know, I had to leave. I had to leave the internet for a little while, for about 2 years. I finished college. And I just had to leave. It was one of those things where like everything I posted, whatever I said, no matter how I said it.
Oh, we have
I was
no
just,
idea what that's like.
You know, I have
have no clue. I have no empathy for that situation. Not every post has nothing to relate it, but their fans are following us everywhere. I can have no idea what that's like.
I had a lot of
horrible. What the hell, dude?
You know, Calvin Garris stannies, you know, had me on notifications. So whenever I posted, they would come running, and I just didn't know how to deal with it at the time. And I mean, who does, right?
Right.
I'm a grown ass man, and I'm
left.
like, what the hell is going on? So I understand.
So I just left the internet for a little while, and like I said, I had to you know, do my own thing, finish school. I was in Pensacola, Florida. You know, I was the president of several clubs. I was an RA. Had my great group of friends, and then in 2020 was when I graduated, and I had to move back to LA where my parents live, and all of that was kind of very shocking.
Wait, as a trans person, you left LA and went to Florida? It's for school?
No, so my parents lived in Florida.
Okay, because I was like, you left
when I went to
our rights
Florida.
for less rights?
Yeah. They left me actually.
Oh, wow.
It happens a lot, more than what people know.
No. I love them so much. But so I moved back to LA, and I didn't really know what to do because I was supposed to finish my bachelor's degree and go to get my graduate degree. I was going to go straight to graduate school. And then I was like at home all of a sudden. Like I even planned to transition without involving any of my family or anything. Like I planned to just start T and get top surgery, and then just like, you know, when they saw me, they saw me.
We have a similar experience, and when I tell you I can relate to that as a trans woman.
Yeah.
Like I tried to hid my entire transition from my mother. It was just really, really challenging being in a household where you're expected so much of you. And when you need to transition because you don't feel like who you are on the outside is aligning with how you feel on the inside, it's hard to navigate that. And going back to like what I said in a previous episode about detransitioning, I did that a lot.
Yeah.
But what people like Calvin and some of these other people have done is turn that into propaganda for transmedicalism.
Yeah, with the detransition narrative.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Let
hard.
me cheers myself.
You know, figuring out the family aspect was difficult, but it wasn't ever that they were unaccepting. It was kind of just I wanted to do it myself without hearing what they had to. I didn't want to walk.
You knew what you wanted, and you didn't want anybody in the way.
But then the pandemic put me back in my parents' house, and it was like, okay, I guess I'm doing this with them, you know, more involved. But that turned out to be great. Like my mom nursed me back to health after top surgery.
Same.
Yeah,
Oh my
like
God.
I think, you know, for some parents, it's just like once you're like, this is what's happening, they're on board, right?
Yeah. And they know when you're not going to be able to change their minds.
Yeah. Exactly. Once they're the element of, but anyway, so I moved back to LA, and I started doing TikTok actually. And I started meeting a bunch of
TikTok loves trans guys.
I started meeting a bunch of other people. And it was really refreshing because I started to see a lot of people using the terminology that I was using on YouTube and getting totally hated for, and like people identifying the way that I identified and like had, you know, been kind of conditioned to like really like feel weird about those parts of myself and like just, you know, hide those parts of myself on the internet, be really careful about how I spoke about my identity on the internet. And then, you know, here was TikTok and people with pink hair again, you know, just being 100% themselves. And like, I was like, okay, maybe I can come back. Like, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can talk about this stuff again. And so I ended up getting like a group of friends of all content creators, right? During the pandemic, I think a lot of people experimented with like, Zoom activism, where they just, got a bunch of queer people from around the world in a Zoom call. And
Yeah, like a We Are the World moment.
yeah, exactly. And so I met a lot of trans and queer people through that. And I kind of started preparing. I think I was like, I talked to a few of my friends and I was like, do you think that I should talk about Calvin? Like, do you think that I'm ready to do it? And then, what happened? I remember now is Calvin deleted the video about me, or he privated it. He privated the video, and I was like, wait a second. He can't just erase it. He can't just erase something that was like the bane of my existence for 2 years. And kind of
like World of Warcraft, never look at the same, right?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, wait a second.
I saw, you don't understand. This kid do you mind if I tell this?
Yeah.
So this Calvin guy, kid, went on, what was her name? Who is
the streamer?
The streamer?
Riley Grace Rashong.
Okay. Goes on and plays World of Warcraft.
That girl, love her.
Like playing a video game while having this serious conversation. Let me not digress. I feel like I'm messing up the story. Yeah. Because like I was like, why are they playing video games? Because I was going to bring Fortnite today, honestly, and you and I were going to play Fortnite, and we were just going to talk shit about Calvin. We're going to be like, dude, drop me.
I just, Riley Grace Rashong was involved, but she doesn't make content anymore either. She kind of went on her own little crash and burn moment for her. But so she had Calvin on and was kind of doing debate with him, and kind of, it was a little strange.
It's the weirdest video I've watched.
It was a little strange conversation. And I was like, I don't want Calvin to be the only person talking about this. And I don't want him to have, I didn't think that he was going to have a redemption arc or anything, but I was like, I need to say what I need to say about this.
Yeah.
And so I got my support. I got someone to help me write it. I got someone to help me do
storyboarding,
the research. My lovely writer at the time, Alice, I really, really, actually, I think she goes by a different name now.
Oh.
Anne?
Erased it. We didn't hear it.
Anne now? Yeah. Cut it out. Cut that out.
Even though it's alive. But
but no, she's great. I really, really, really care about her so much. She was great. She's trans, and she really, really helped me kind of build the confidence and do the research I needed to post that video. And then and I just talked about like my experience and how it affected me, how like having a bunch of trans men out to get you
circle you like
really negatively affected me. And and I found with that video, and I made some TikToks about it as well, like I kind of found that a lot of people felt the same way as me. A lot of people felt like that ideology, that presence, Calvin's presence, kind of intimidated them out of feeling certain ways about their identities. A lot of people who identified with me felt more like they had to identify with Calvin. A lot of people came
He had
back
that
to
much influence on...
Yeah,
Because again,
100%.
I didn't know who the kid was.
100%. He was very, very popular.
So he created like a generation of trans guys?
Yeah, he had maybe like 300,000 subscribers. They were all young trans guys, just like him. They were all angry. Oh no, somebody's calling me. Sorry.
Uh-oh. Call.
It's okay. It's okay. Sorry. But yeah, so
I think it's so weird.
He had a huge following, and they were all like very, like I said, like very just angry, self-hating, like trans kids that were validated by all of Calvin's anger. And Calvin was doing it, not only because he was angry, because he was making a lot of money off of it.
Yeah.
I mean,
imagine.
we've seen it with,
Yeah.
you know who we're,
it's the grift, right?
Yeah.
And I was just collateral damage in a lot of ways.
I like that
Say
word.
it one more time, Blossom.
That grifting word. Listen, that grifting word is so interesting in our trans community.
I know. I love that word. I think it's so funny. But yeah, so I just talked about it in that video, and it got a lot of traction within that community. A lot of people reached out to me apologizing for a lot of stories of like, I was really into Calvin and I probably commented on your stuff and said some really mean things. And I just like, I don't know who I was back then. And like, you helped me understand that was just such a counterproductive way to think about transness and way to think about queerness. And I think a lot of people kind of grew through that experience and through me sharing about that. And I feel like in a lot of ways I kind of called out this like divide in the trans mass community online. And I kind of put a face to it.
I'm really happy you did because like, I mean, granted, I'm a binary guy. I give dude bro energy. I know. I'm very well aware. Like I said, I look like an 80s villain. But exactly. But one thing that at least in my life, I don't look at your identity as a bad representation of trans mass.
Yeah,
I've never been threatened or upset or anything because I understand like the system at play and how it works as a whole. And I mean, I see you as like a little brother that I want to protect, and especially because you're non-binary, because of like folks like Next Benedict and everything that happened in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I think that we just got to stick together. I think that like,
bro, I could protect you. You know what I mean? I'm a big dude.
I think that the inner the inner community arguing and kind of blaming each other for,
it feels like a psyop.
Like Calvin Guerra, I never was the cause of transphobia, whether I existed or not.
Say that again.
Right?
Break that back up.
My pink hair ass was never the reason that people hated trans people. Like people hate trans people because we're trans. Yeah. People hate trans people because we're, pushing against this strict gender roles, right? And I think Calvin, just used transmedicalism to be angry with me and to justify his anger. And I think, me talking about it was like very relieving and very healing. I think that something I always said back then was I was hurt publicly, so I had to heal publicly.
Oh, really?
I like that.
Yeah. And I think that, so I think.
I thought you were going to say privately. That's interesting.
No, publicly,
yeah. So I think that, since Calvin, at the time I was.
This is why I like Gen Z, because we are more like, as millennials, like, yes, we're
very vengeful,
but at the same time, like Gen Z, like you guys go with your full chest in situations.
Yeah.
In a like, yes, we had that energy, but we still were more reserved, and I feel like Gen Z doesn't do that.
Yeah, I think
saying publicly, because I thought you were going to say privately too, because I was like, oh yeah, privately, that makes sense. But you're saying publicly actually makes more sense. You deserve that space.
Yeah, and I think that like it wasn't just me that Calvin was attacking, right? It was
the ideology
who look like me, people who act like me, people who feel like me and identify with me. And so I wasn't the only person in the room there. I think that a lot of people were hurt by the ideology that Calvin spread. And the success of that video was what caused him to make more videos about people like me and to kind of build his career off of making fun of non-binary people and non-binary ideology.
And they seem to be targeting, again, like kids.
Trans masks.
Like it seems like it's like AFAB folks that are in their teens or early 20s that don't have the means to defend themselves.
The trans exactly. Easy targets, right? Like easy vulnerable targets.
Which is weird because some of these people are like 30 years old doing this.
Yeah. But they
editing for 8 hours with a child on their computer.
Exactly like you
telling
said.
us they're protecting
they can't
children.
fight back. They can't fight back. And so I think me coming back was kind of being like, all right, we got to talk about this. I got to fight back a little bit. I got to, say my piece and kind of see what happens. And, Calvin, I think I had maybe too high of expectations for Calvin himself. But I think I think that the overarching conversation really moved towards
It's okay. We're getting deep in conversation.
Yeah,
it
that's
happens.
really good,
That means
y'all.
we're getting real deep
like
in there.
like an anti-transmedicalist ideology, right? Like very much like,
Because, dude, people freak out that I'm not on T and I'm still.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro.
People were like, wait, what? And to be
That's
fair, something that and why I came out on Jubilee like
Life's not fair.
that. Are we going to talk about my dick again?
Almost every other episode, Shane talks about his.
When you hit that button, the not fair button, because it's still not fair. But like in that situation, like looking at how we all kind of just fell in this place and
Yeah.
it's I came out on Jubilee in that moment because a lot of folks actually always assume that I was on T the whole time. And for me, like I'm in Hollywood. I didn't want my skin to crack or my hair to disappear too.
Yeah.
I don't know many trans men that still have hair. Sorry, I love y'all. But like things like that scared me. I also didn't have like the means financially to have consistent healthcare, especially when I was younger.
Yeah.
There was a lot of different things that played into it. And then as I got older, I was like, I feel like the manliest of man because I'm like, I'm not even taking T and I am all the way in there and I can handle that. And that's why in some weird way,
I love you
I
more.
feel like I'm non-binary, but just like one drop, if that makes
sure,
sense.
yeah.
You know,
I think
like,
everyone's a little non-binary. Right?
yeah. And that's why when I,
We need to say that.
I know. When I realized that about myself, it was almost in that Jubilee episode because I was so pissed at the rhetoric in the space and it was just shitting on Alex who was in that
Yeah.
space and they were just being attacked and interrupted. And I was like, looking in that space, I don't see you as less human than me. And I don't understand why people try to create that narrative that because you have pink hair or because you wear whatever you wear. I'm wearing a black t-shirt and jeans. I'm boring. Like, I'm generic as shit. And we can both coexist in that space.
I think that too, like non-binary people aren't the enemy, right? I think that
Hell no.
transphobia is the enemy, anti-trans legislation is the enemy. Like these politicians that are, just out to get trans people are the enemy. Like me talking about being non-binary in my dorm room is not the enemy. And I think that there's just a lot of projection, and there's a lot of like when you hate yourself as a trans person, you really want to justify it. You really want to like
hurt people
you want to like understand why. And I think transmedicalism kind of gives you this outlet for kind of hating yourself, right? Because in transmedicalism, the goalpost always moves. Yeah. Right. Like, and transmedicalism creates this box of transness that even the transmedicalists will find it difficult to fit into at some points. Right. And so I think that it's just it's a lame ideology. Like it's very limiting and it's not productive. It's not productive to keep arguing about it. Right. And I think that it was just used to justify bullying me and bullying people like me at that time. I
agree with you 100%.
And I had to kind of talk about my personal experience to give kind of a face to that conversation. I think that, it's so easy to just like hate on people from a 10-minute video. And I don't think people realize like how, that we're all
humans behind the screen.
Yeah, we're all just like, we're all just trying our best. Like trans people, we're all just trying our
even
best.
Calvin and Blair are humans.
Like,
you know what I mean? Like
they're just trying their best, and they're just.
I love this button.
And
I've pushed it 12 times today.
And so Calvin just, I think that he was just, caught up in it too. Like I think that he was just, people, they were in, they were talking about this all the time. They were in Reddit threads. They were in Discord servers, just hating themselves and hating each other and hating everybody around them, like being so vindictive about this like injustice that is being assigned the wrong gender at birth. Yeah. And they needed somewhere to put it. And I think that, like I said earlier, like they put it on me. They put it on, other cringy trans people that just didn't identify, that could find some joy transness. I think that's what really, really pissed him off, because he really hated being trans.
Well, you also
And-
pissed him off in another way, and this is where I lead into.
Oh yeah. We should, yeah.
So, how did you steal his best friend?
Oh my God, so funny.
Yo or Sue?
Steal.
I stole
his best friend and made a
Calvin's best
podcast
friend.
with his best friend, who new episode is
dear,
coming
dear friend.
soon, by
Yep,
the way.
yep,
Make sure to promote it, because we want to cross promote.
So
Because
so
you're
Ryan,
friends with Ryan now, who
Storm
used to
Ryan,
attack you
my
with
my love
Calvin,
I love
right?
him so much. So Storm Ryan and Calvin Guerra were kind of a duo. They were making very similar videos. Like you two.
Another
just
duo.
like you two.
No, but there's also another duo.
They lots of duos.
Several.
But they really they were good friends, and they made lots and lots of videos together. They kind of egged each other on in their anger and self-hatred. They targeted after the success of targeting me, they targeted lots of other, cringy people. And I think after my video, Ryan had kind of done some self-reflection, all the, self-reflection that I wanted Calvin to do. And
The frontal lobe formed.
yeah,
too,
and he reached out to me. Yeah, he reached out to me.
Wow.
He sent me
That
a
is-
bunch of voice notes, and I remember talking to my friends like, I have a bunch of voice notes from Storm Ryan. Do I open these? And so I click screen record, and
In case they tried to delete it.
and,
Smart. Exactly.
Because you're like content, either way.
and it was really very, very sweet, basically he was like, I don't know how to say this, but I'm really sorry. Like, I can't apologize for Calvin, but like I can apologize for myself, and like you didn't deserve that. And I'm just really sorry. Like, I don't know what I can do to make it up to you, but I'm trying to change. I'm in a different place now. And I think that that's really all I needed. That's all I think, like, it's so easy to let people back in. It's so easy. And that's all I needed, was for him to be like, I don't know how to say this, but I'm sorry. I don't know if you need me to apologize, but I'm sorry. And then he was coming to LA. We wanted to FaceTime. We wanted to talk to each other, because we just had so much that so much
There
from
was
both
tea there.
sides.
Come on. I mean,
both
you're
sides
talking
of
to
the
your
argument.
ex-best friend's bully
Yeah.
situation. I think we had an episode similar to that of someone else's ex-best friend.
Yeah. And so,
Yeah. Are we just bringing everybody's ex-best friend on
Yeah.
here? Okay.
So he was in LA, and I went to in a very strange leap of faith, I just went to his Airbnb, and
Wait, Airbnb?
Yeah, he was at an Airbnb.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really nice. It was a really cute Airbnb. It was like kind of like a tree house. It was crazy.
What?
But no, it was so sweet. And I came. It was really awkward. We sat very far apart because it was COVID. So we were social distancing. And also he did not want to intimidate me. He didn't want to scare me. He wanted to make me feel safe. And be intentional. So, we just got to talking, and I slept over that night. Not like in a weird way. It was like,
I don't know. I was going to say, it's the Airbnb. You got to pay the bills.
We ordered some alcoholic beverages, and we sat, and
That's beautiful.
We're both Pisces. We're both from Florida. We both, were in this internet transmasc world. And I think that we just had a lot to say to each other, and we had a lot of healing to do together. Yeah. And it was just really, we immediately connected, and cared for each other deeply. Aww. And I think that too, like, I wanted to, in coming out, so we were friends for like 6 months. Maybe Ryan says 9 months. I think it was more like 6 months before we told anybody, before we told the internet. We told our friends, obviously.
What, like Taylor Swift and Kelsey?
Yeah, kind of. It was we worked really hard to keep it.
Wow. You did a hard launch and everything, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So
did you guys do like hand photos, like touching and saying, "Guess whose hand
I
this
think
is?"
that we did tease a little bit of stuff, but like
couples do.
I mean, like, we traveled to Florida together in secret. Like we did all kinds of things in secret. And I remember that time, it was like, everything we posted, we were like, are you talking in the background? So like people cared that much. But and then
the internet actually does though. They be creepy and see that.
So we did our like private healing together. And then, like I said, both of us had done some public damage, some public hurt. And so we needed to be public about our healing again. And we wanted to kind of bridge this gap and show people that like, this isn't about me against you. Like, this isn't about Brennan against Calvin. This is about like a community conversation that needs to be had. And like, there's a lot of tension in the room, and let's see if we can break it.
Yeah.
And that's what Brennames was to bring back, to bring Ryan in and kind of show people in that space like what it looks like to bring somebody in and to forgive, or just to like move on and just like remember that like we're all trans people in this space just trying to survive and trying to deal with whatever we're dealing with. And like it is so much easier to care about each other and love each other and build bridges together. And so we had a lot of fun with Brennames season 1.
Yeah, I love it. So speaking of healing, I do have a question.
Yeah.
If Calvin were to watch this episode,
Because we're sending him the link.
exactly. Would you, and if they were willing, would you ever sit down and have a conversation with them?
That's such a good good question. I would. I think that me and Calvin meeting is inevitable. I think that Ryan is still friends with Calvin. They're still
really?
friends, and I. A lot of people on the internet think that like I'm not okay with that, and I very much am okay with that. I think Calvin needs.
That's super mature.
I think Calvin needs a trans friend more than I do. I think that Calvin needs more trans friends.
Because I don't know if I don't even know if I could do that. If somebody came at me, I don't know.
It looks like the foundation is already there.
Yeah. And I think that, Ryan and Calvin were friends in childhood, since they were 14-year-olds on the internet, doing musically tours, like they really had a connection. And so who was I to like tell Ryan to not be friends with Calvin? And again, like I said earlier, like I love Calvin. And maybe that's Stockholm syndrome, but I think
might be a little
bit. he needs a little bit of love, like I don't think everybody needs to love him. I think that he is and was an asshole, and I think that he really needed to be checked, and I think that he should not be on the internet. There's a lot of videos he still needs to delete. But I think that he's struggling more than I am.
You think there'll be a redemption arc?
I don't know if we're characters in a story that need a redemption arc.
There might be a redemption. I was shocked to find that out.
I think that
and I'm proud of her for doing that. Actually,
there's no judgment here.
Yeah,
none at all. I think that we're just people, and I think that Calvin's gonna do what he needs to do, and I think that apologizing to me is going to be the hardest thing he's ever done in his whole life. And I don't think he's in a place to do anything of the sort. But I think I'm best friends with his best friend. Like, I'm going to meet him eventually.
Yeah.
And
how do you feel about that with
him.
Ryan, though? Because, I know you guys were friends privately for 9 months, but do you feel that Ryan may possibly be taking advantage of you in that space, or do you feel like it's really authentic?
No, I think that if he was, like, if he's playing the long game, like, he really...
Calvin, I looked at the metrics, and it looked like Calvin kind of fell off the cliff. So do you feel like it was a PR move, or do you feel it's really genuine? I think
that he was planning... I think that his apology to me was the beginning of him trying to get off the internet. I think that what is the good graces of the community anyway? Like, what does that even mean at this point? But I think, that a lot of people threw around this idea, especially when we started Brennames, that Ryan was using me. And I just think that that's like a pretty cynical way to look at it, right? I think if you look at it that way, we were using each other, but... Yeah,
I was like, you didn't hit the button, girl.
I was trying to find a laughing one, but I was like, hey.
But he funded a lot of Brennames. He funded all of Brennames season 1.
So know the insides of it, and and you feel it in your gut.
And like I said, he was perfectly happy to never come back to the internet.
And so you dragged him back then.
I actually kind of did. But I get it though too. I think that people kind of see us as not really people, and that's okay. We're characters, right? Like we're little characters in their lives, and they talk about like Ryan having a redemption arc, and me and Ryan being the like superheroes or a sidekick or whatever. But we're just people, right? We're just friends, and we just kind of we saw ourselves in this overarching. Oh my God, I love us. That's our old logo. That's our season
new
1.
Logo's coming soon.
We got
Stay tuned.
new logo is out. And look at us. Look at us.
That's fucking cool.
That's me. That's me pre-top surgery. Or maybe I was on gel at that point. I don't know. But that's me and Ryan. I love us.
Beautiful.
And I think that this time around, like with season 2, I think with season 1 we were really trying our best to like heal and show an audience how to heal, and kind of like we had this like objective of bringing trans masks together and showing how to support each other and love each other. Almost every episode we had another trans mask or non-binary trans person come on and share their lives and their experiences and their talents. And we were trying to be like very, PC and we were kind of walking on eggshells when we first started. But after 2 years of a hiatus, we've done a lot more healing. We've done a lot more. We're kind of coming back healed, and we're kind of coming back, just
with a vengeance, honestly, it feels like.
Or just to talk our shit, I think that this season it's live. Last season it was edited. So it's going to be a little bit edgier. It's going to be a little bit more raw and unfiltered, and
we know
a little riskier.
We know a little something about live television, okay?
Yeah.
But I'm excited about it. I think that, Ryan and I have done a lot of, we've just become just very close friends and have experienced
really
so much life together. And 2 years is a long time to be playing a game to try to get within the good graces of the trans community.
Yeah.
But I think that, I love Ryan so much. I'm literally gonna go see him after this.
Nice.
And I think
Speaking
that
of
our friendship
seeing
is
him,
great.
though, my question is, because you lied to the internet, though, and I want to.
Oh yeah.
Because if I remember correctly, just a couple of days ago, you posted. First of all, this live was hilarious.
I love that live.
Sasha, who was in the video.
Sasha Allen.
I love Sasha.
Sasha Allen, Sam Collins.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ryan and I, we all jumped on a live stream because we were hanging out at my place. And my room is so big that a lot can happen in that room. And
I just want to know, what did it
Sasha
smell
needs to
like
come to the show.
it was stinky. We're boys. Like, what are you talking about?
Because Sam comes in and he's on the live and he's like, it just smells warm in here.
It smelled like it smelled like boys and Sasha's Zins.
By the way, tell Sasha I loved his remix of that song.
I love
Sasha is wonderful.
He's
we need
so
to have
great.
Sasha on this show.
Yeah.
For real.
Try to get him on.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just, really close friends, and we wanted to jump on live.
But we didn't capture the lie, though.
What did I lie about?
So, okay, just so everybody knows, when you watch this video, all 4 of these trans masks looked into the camera and said that they went to Vegas. And I truly was like,
And
oh,
we posted.
I
that
thought
we
they
were
went
in
to Vegas. How did you, weren't you next to slot machines, though?
So,
how did you do that?
So I have a really big TV in my living room, and we had wanted to go to Vegas. So Sasha's leaving.
Oh.
Sasha is moving.
Oh.
I don't know if he has said publicly where he's moving, so I won't.
Let's just leave it.
Yeah.
He's moving, so we wanted to go to Vegas as like a goodbye trip, and we were trying to plan it.
Oh.
And then Sam's car got broken into.
Oh,
my God.
no.
And the plans kind of fell apart. So I was like, why don't y'all just come over to my place and we can live stream? Like, and
No, but I saw you guys next to the slot machine.
Yeah,
That was
so-
really good
so they-
lies. Like,
so-
I truly was like, wow, that's so cool. 4 trans guys went to Vegas and
they
like
came to-
took over like some freaking movie or something.
So
I
they
was
came
waiting for
over.
the vlog.
I had Vegas on the TV. I put a bunch of like imagery of Vegas on the
Yeah.
TV, and so we started taking pictures in front of it and thought, hey, let's see if we could convince people that
You
we went to
totally
Vegas.
had me.
And of course, we just lied. We just lied, and we were there the whole time. But yeah, a lot of people, some people believed us. I had friends like text me, and some people were like, I have your location. I know where you are. And then. Yeah, and when we were on the live stream, we were just like, let's keep this rolling. And we were like, yeah, we just flew out and flew back. We just flew out for a few hours and flew back. No, we did not go to Vegas. You got me. You got me. You got me.
I gotta say though, watching that live, especially because like trans guys and non-binary folks, like anybody on the AFAB site, it's kind of a lone wolf world out there a lot.
It's rough, yeah. It's hard. We're so competitive.
Oh, I hate it.
We're so
Yeah.
competitive.
Ow.
You know what I think it is?
See, it's every.
We're-
Everywhere I
Not
see-
to talk
yeah.
my shit about trans men, but we're so competitive and we're so
Talk your shit. That's
we're
what
so
it's for.
petty. We're petty.
Yeah.
We're competitive. We're petty. But I think that is just a result of being raised among the gossip and pettiness of women and femininity,
Yeah.
and also that like toxic competitive nature of masculinity kind of all
Converged into a
converged into like these little stinky little monsters. But I think that it's what makes us uniquely us, and but that's what Brennames is all about. That's what me and Ryan getting back together was all about. Was just let's look around and see ourselves and each other in a much more positive light than Calvin Guerra ever could have, and
it's
stop hating.
It's so beautiful. I was because I also mod for Brennan on his page, and I was just sitting there and just kind of observing it. And as like a trans guy, like all of this stuff did not exist even 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, like I was with Ryan Casada last night for the next ceremony, and like Ryan and I, we were joking back and forth, and like, dude, there's so many trans guys now. Do you remember when it was just you and I?
Yeah.
Like being public and out. And I was like, dude, and I couldn't even get anywhere. You were the only one getting on the radar. And it's just so beautiful to see the younger generation, because like a lot of the work that we did, like it's showing up in you guys having your friendship and showing up, even though you lied about going to Vegas. I still thought the stream was really cute and sweet.
What?
And it like brought healing, I think, to all of us. Because like even to see Sasha in a space with you, because Sasha's pretty binary too, You're a non-binary. It's that like crossover of like, again, our liberation is tied, and I'm gonna always bring it back to
and
that.
also like it's just the authenticity, right? Like I think that one thing that people will just not see and never be able to see is that we're developing these relationships not as like, oh, Sam has this many followers and Sasha has this many followers, and we're gonna get together because
that influence,
because we're all
new to me, and I like it.
trying to build a following. Like it comes from like an authentic, like, we do relate to each other because we're all influencers in our own right, and we love each other for it, and like we love each other's art and we love each other's content. But it came from this like more like authentic growth of friendship. Like that's why Ryan and I had to wait 9 months, 6 months, whatever, to really build an authentic, genuine friendship outside of what the internet would think about it. Knowing that the internet would have a lot to think about it. And we wanted to come from a very authentic place. And I think that, I'm in a place in my content creation career where I have total control of what I do. I stream Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. Brennames is coming out every Wednesday, starting this Wednesday. And I really have more control over my content than ever before. And I just want it to be like, come from a very genuine, authentic place. And if that's, if that becomes a more edgy Brennan or a more angry Brennan or a Brennan that's not walking on eggshells anymore to please a particular audience or a particular narrative, like I think that, you know, I just have to ride that wave and see what happens from it.
Keep doing that. Keep doing that.
We love to see it. We love to see it around here.
Yeah, because truly, like, as an older trans guy, looking at what y'all are doing and being authentic, and even just as a millennial in general, like, before y'all learned how to speak, before y'all started to get into activism, and it was just the millennials causing shit, because, you know, even Gen Xers, I know they get they're still kind of boomer energy. Listen, I can go on forever. Ooh. But, like, millennials were really the first generation to put a stop to stuff, but we still didn't have the kind of balls that y'all have.
Well, I think that,
and the authenticity that because we still were in this weird world in the way that the world worked at that time, that we had to kind of placate still to the systems at B. But when Gen Z came along, like, as a millennial, I was like, thank God. And it feels like you're like Scrappy Doo or something to the Scooby Doo. Like, you just, like, you do not take shit and you're authentic.
Well, we're running out of time.
Beautiful.
Right.
No, we can
I think that
we can extend.
I think that, no, I'm not saying that we're running out of time here. I'm saying that Gen Z is running out of time.
Yeah.
I think that we're inheriting a dying earth. And I think that our government and our society has, you know, allowed us to look into the future and see nothing, you know, and see school shootings, like, just destroying the environment, you know, anti-trans, anti-black, you know, any minority, right? Ideology has just shown us that, like, our government doesn't care about us, our society doesn't care about us, and we are looking at our future and we're like, we probably will not make it to the ages. We will probably be the first generation that does not get older than their parents did. Yeah. And so we're like, okay, fuck it. Like, fuck you and fuck it.
Shit,
like,
I didn't even realize that.
Like,
you're worried about lifespan.
You don't give a shit about our lives. Like, so we're not going to give a shit about the corporations that we serve. We're not going to give a shit about the advertising that you have fed to us since birth. Like, and we can see through it, like, so easily because we have been propagandized since birth. And so that's why we respond so much to genuineness and authenticity, because, like, that's all we have left is, like, is something real. And so we can just see through fakeness really easily. We can see through advertisement really easily.
It's changed social media to the point where I actually feel comfortable, because I've been an activist in Blossom. I've told for years and years ago, she's told me that I need to get it on camera. I need to do that. But I hated all the bullshit that goes with it. It's so much bullshit, And because of the way that Gen Z, like, especially TikTok and the combinations of things that happened, like, y'all really have changed it. And I really appreciate you coming here today, Brennan, and, like, being real and just, how can we support you too? Like, what's your Instagram handle? What's all of that stuff?
So I'm at Brennan Beckwith everywhere. BRENNEN BCKWITH is my handle everywhere. I'm popping on TikTok. I make lots of content about queer culture, queer pop culture in general. I stream. I stream on my YouTube channel, youtube.com. Oh, that's my Instagram. Yep. If you scroll down a little bit, you can see my top surgery. I think that
Blossom saw mine earlier.
I did. I was, like, shocked.
And then like I said, Brennames is coming back. I'm streaming 3 times a week. It is exhausting to do that, but it is so fun. I'm coming back with a vengeance. I'm coming back with just this. I've been so afraid so long to say the right things and do the right things and be a good person on the internet. But I think what I've found is that if people think I'm a bad person, they're going to think I'm a bad person no matter how hard I try. And I think that now I'm kind of coming back with just, like, a very, like, as a, very confident and very self-assured version of myself. And I'm really excited to do that live, and to create lots more content and kind of put myself out onto the internet in a more authentic and fun and less guarded way. And I'm Brennan Beckwith everywhere, and Ryan is Storm Ryan everywhere, and Brennames is coming back, so check out Brennames. It's on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Brennan Beckwith, and I think that's all my stuff.
And there you have it, everyone.
So folks, make sure to follow Brennan, support Brennames, because, you know, again, Transmask, I'm trying to put this new thing in here where we're not competing with each other. I'm so over this game. Like, there's no need for it. You know, I worked with Ryan Casada yesterday, and we did this great thing for Nexus Visual, and it's actually recorded too. So if you all want to take a look at that, I just want to be intentional about bringing up Nex in these next couple of, not to be cliche, episodes, because it's a really important topic. And Brennan, I think that who you are and how you represent on the internet, I'm not sure if you're even fully aware of the impact that you have for.
I'm aware.
I love it.
I know
that you have that impact on community in the way that you do, because I will tell you this: there was a period of time in like 2015, like it seems like the Calvin Garrett era, where I didn't quite know of it, but I heard it through the community grapevine, and people were really pushing out non-binary folks. And I think that you've probably really channeled that narrative to show that we're all human at the end of the day. So thank you for doing that work.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, man. And next time maybe we'll play some Fortnite when we talk.
Come back and see us. Come back and see us.
You know, Sasha's trying to get me to do Fortnite too.
Every
trans man in my life is trying to get me to do Fortnite.
I need you to listen to Sasha.
I can't play
I need you to listen. By the way, I also need Sasha's EP out. Okay. So
shout out to Sasha. We love you so much.
I'm gonna miss him so much.
Folks, that's it. This is the show. That's what it is. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button
down below.
Follow all the links. Follow Brennan. Follow Blossom.
Blossom C. Brown. Blossom C. Brown.
Have yourself a wonderful day. And if you didn't learn anything today, then hit replay and watch it again.
And take a little time to enjoy the Transparency podcast show.
Yes. Have a good one.